Good evening and welcome to Across the Pitch. We're the soccer show for people who think PSG is the name of a video game system.
Oh, got that one. Probably goes back to my nerdy roots there, but nice one, Phil.
Thank you. And of course, PSG is Paris Saint-Germain.
Well done, mate. That was perfect. Oh, my God, you're fluent.
Like I said, I took French and not Dutch in high school, so that's...
On tonight's show, we travel back in time to a period when England ruled Europe. We talk about a movie featuring Steve McQueen and a plucky band of misfits trying to dig their way out of some serious doo-doo. And if you've never seen a four-legged, four-horse race with all four vying for fourth, you'll hear about it tonight. But first, over to you, Matt. Oh, wait. No Matt tonight.
Yes, Matt was unable to join us tonight. He's suffering from a bit of laryngitis, so we wish you to be feeling better soon, Matt, and he will be back with us next week at our regular time.
Yes, all the best, mate. And you know we're going to give you a hard time tonight, mate. So have fun, enjoy, get well.
Leave us a review on iTunes and go Chelsea. And okay, that was Matt's part.
Look, who is this? Who are you, Phil?
So, as always, thank you for joining us on tonight's show of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy. I'm here with my co-host,
Arran Az, and... Oh, damn it, I did it again, didn't I? Matt, where are you, mate?
Yes, Mr. Wizard will not be with us tonight, but we wish that he will be feeling better shortly and will be back with us next week. We do still have a fantastic episode planned for you tonight. It's fantastic, not awesome, because I've recently learned that they do not say awesome in England, so everything is
Really?
either brilliant,
Oh, yes.
fantastic,
Wonderful.
or massive.
Massive.
Massive episode coming up for you tonight.
Yes, we do.
And we're going to start off with a big announcement in Luton Town. Tell us about that, Aaron.
Yes, well, we've been following Luton Town. They were our team of the month back in, I want to say December, was it, Phil?
I believe it was January. January.
Yeah, well, they're riding high, top of League One, I should say. If they get another win on Saturday, they will secure a promotion place, and they'll be, I think, the first team in Europe to do that. So good luck to the Hatters. Hope you do well. But bigger news than that is that last time when we spoke about the Hatters, they were talking about getting their new stadium approved, and, well, it has been just that. It's been approved. It's going ahead. Power Ground, I think it's called, is going to commence work within 6 weeks. So congratulations. Big news for the Hatters. Wishing you all the best.
As Aaron was saying there at the top of the table, they've scored 70 goals this year.
Amazing.
And 37 matches played, which is 6 more than Barnsley, who is second in League One right now. They've also only allowed just 29 goals with a plus 41 goal differential.
Amazing.
I mean, those are some amazing numbers. And remember, this is a team that finished second in League Two last year.
Right, yes. Like their rise has been phenomenal. And that goal difference, as you pointed out, is awesome. I mean, it's brilliant.
There's a lot of exciting things happening in League One if you look up and down the table, and Luton and Barnsley are at the top of the table right now. They're, like we mentioned, Luton is at 79 points. Barnsley's in second at 74, and we have Sunderland in third at 70. So it's looking like Sunderland may end up needing to win one of those playoff spots and get into the promotion that way if they're going to get back into the championship, because Luton and Barnsley look very strong now.
They certainly do. I wouldn't hedge my bets against Luton Town. But, you know, Sunderland, since we spoke about them last, have actually gone on a bit of a run.
All three of those teams are on a bit of an unbeaten streak.
Where's here we are, Football League One. There was a great post in there, which I'm just going to pull up real quick, so bear with me because Facebook's still being
I know exactly what post you're talking about. It's what I was thinking of when I made that. Isn't that a great group?
Yeah, it is. I really like the way like they give each other shit for their away attendance, but by and large they're really positive. They're fantastic to follow these guys. And I don't know when you want to keep this in, but that's the Football League One closed group. You probably have to go and apply for it, but really good banter in there. And gee, they're knowledgeable about their teams. I think I've learned more about League One through this than I have through any other channel, any other avenue.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody in this group is either a local fan or a degenerate gambler, so they know their stuff.
Going on about unbeaten runs there, Luton Town is on a 24-match unbeaten run. 24. Barnsley, who is in second place, they're on a 17-run unbeaten record, and Sunderland are on 15. So I tell you what, these teams just seem virtually unbeatable in that league, which is fantastic.
And I believe that two of those teams advanced to the final game in the Checkatrade Trophy also. I know it was I believe Sunderland and Barnsley, or
Sunderland and Portsmouth it was.
Sunderland and Portsmouth, okay. And Portsmouth is in 4th right now, right?
Off the top of my head,
yeah, they are in 4th. Yeah, they're in 4th at 68 points. You have Charlton at 66, and then it's all the way back to Doncaster is in 6th at 56. So what you're looking at is Luton at 79 points. They're almost clinching an automatic promotion within the next few games. Barnsley's looking good at 74. Sunderland, Portsmouth, and Charlton are all at least 10 points above 6. So those 5 teams are all looking at least a playoff appearance.
I believe so too, yes. And Sunderland, Portsmouth, and Charlton, they're all ex-Premier League teams. Charlton, quite a number of years ago, I'm probably going to go back and say, off the top of my head, it was 2008, they went down. They certainly know the heights, and their ground down there in southeast London is pretty fantastic for a League One team. But yes, Sunderland, Portsmouth, certainly looking to bounce back up. But I don't know if I can see anyone beating Luton or Barnsley for that matter. It's going to be a really fascinating end to the season down there. At the other end of the table, I'd like to point out that there was a team I mentioned a couple of episodes back called AFC Wimbledon, about how they're a fan-formed club and how they've had quite an amazing run up until this year. And when we last spoke about them, they look cut off. They look adrift. They look like they were going down for all money. They're actually only 4 points from safety now. They have made an amazing run themselves. They're currently still bottom. They're tied with Bradford City on 36 points. Rochdale is 38.
It's an amazing battle that's heating up here. To put things in perspective, there right now is only 9 points that separates 12th place Plymouth Argyle from 24th place AFC Wimbledon.
Incredible.
And that's only a 3-game swing. So realistically, anybody from 12th on down is still fighting for their lives to stay in League One. I remember it wasn't too many weeks ago that Argyle was all the way down below the cutoff line. I believe that they were dead last back in January. Now they're all the way up to 12th. Rochdale, they're a team that's really struggling. They have a minus 31 goal differential. They're a team that I think, from what I'm seeing right now in League One, Rochdale is a team that almost certainly is going to get relegated. That's good news for Accrington Stanley, because they play Rochdale this week. They also had a big victory over Wickham yesterday.
Yes.
3-1. They had 2 penalty kicks by Billy Key and a 3rd goal by Paul Smith. And Paul Smith, not only did he score that 3rd goal, he also set up and drew both of the penalties that were cashed in by Billy Key. And of course, we've talked about Paul Smith back in my interview with Darren, where he said he thought that this was going to be the guy that changed their season. He was certainly worth 3 points to them yesterday.
Quite incredible. Or was he also the one doing all the backflips across the field, Phil?
He was the one doing the backflips, and if you go to the official Accrington Stanley Twitter page, they actually created a video of Paul Smith's backflip goal celebration on a 1-minute loop. Watch him backflip across the Wickham field for a minute.
I tell you what, he's certainly athletic. I was impressed. Very impressed.
Yeah, he's quite a player, and hopefully they can keep him around after the season.
How is Wickham's form, though? I've seen this in a couple of the fan blogs and the groups out there about how Wickham love to draw out a game. There was a game the other day they played against Sunderland where I think a couple of people got red carded in the 98th minute. I don't understand how that...
I'll tell you this, in the first half yesterday, there was over 10 minutes of stoppage time in the first half because the referee actually got injured. And due to a referee injury, there ended up being over 10 minutes of stoppage time, and it was actually in that 55th minute that Billy Key scored one of those penalty goals. So
Remarkable. Wow.
very, very late in the first half that they got on the board. And that was the equalizer. And honestly, that was probably the turning point in the whole game, was that 55th minute first half equalizer by Billy Key.
I mentioned in my intro that AFC Wimbledon is the great escape on for Wimbledon. Do we feel confident about this? Are they going to get out the cellar there in League One?
You have Oxford in 21st right now. I did watch Oxford play a few weeks ago. Their form isn't very good right now. They're still 4 points ahead of Wimbledon, which is more than a one-game lead. Shrewsbury, we've talked a bit about their struggles. Walsall in 19th with 42 points. They're actually at a minus 17 goal differential. They've really been struggling. Another team to look at that's been struggling is Scunthorpe in 15th.
Shout out to James Polson there, by the way. That's an in-joke. I can't explain that on air. He'll get that.
They're at a minus 16 goal differential. So what I'm looking at here is Wimbledon, they still have some ground to make up because they're tied right now with Bradford City with 36 points. They can get ahead of Rochdale at 38th. They're only 2 points behind them. And I don't know if Rochdale will win again all year the way that they're playing. But then if you move above that, they're still going to need to move up two more places to be able to. And so what I'm looking at is Oxford. Oxford's at a minus 11 goal differential. Wimbledon's at minus 22. Oxford is going to get the draw with them if it ended up that way. So what they're really going to have to hope for is that either Walsall or Scunthorpe falls down to them, because they're the teams with the worst goal differentials. Because just from where I'm sitting, in order for them to move ahead of four more teams, I don't know if they can actually clear four more teams on points. They're going to have to get up to tied with somebody and win it on their goal differential.
No.
Which right now they're... Keep in mind, they've played 37 games. In the League One, they're actually playing a 46-game season, so there are still 9 games remaining. So it's not over by any means. There's still 27 points available to them. And Stanley and the Bristol Rovers both have a game in hand. Doncaster has a game in hand. And it is also worth mentioning that Sunderland also has a game in hand, which would only put them 1 point behind Barnsley if they win that. That game actually is against Accrington Stanley at Accrington.
I have to say, if you're not following the lower leagues in English football, you're really missing out on some really, really excellent games, some brilliant narrative. And I'll tell you what, this is passion at its absolute best in these lower leagues. There are no glory supporters following these teams. These guys are here for the hard yards. To see this battle happening, this is fantastic. This is like your grassroots football happening here. So I say good luck to the rest of the teams.
Yeah, you're going to see two things. You're going to see either guys who are out there playing for the love of the game that were just maybe a step below making it to the Premier
Mm,
League in terms of talent, but they're still out there playing their asses off for the love of the game.
absolutely.
Or you're going to see up and coming young
Right.
stars that maybe just haven't caught on with the team yet. A guy like Paul Smith, who we mentioned, he's certainly a young player who you could definitely see playing in the Premier League one day.
I agree. I agree. I saw a couple of highlights of his and I was very impressed with the way he played. Nice little segue as always there, Phil. Premier League, talking about relegation bound teams. Oh, it's not looking great for Huddersfield. I don't think mathematically they're out of it. They could, in their remaining 8 games, get a total of 24 points and avoid the drop. I don't think that's going to happen. I'd be surprised if they got any points.
They're not a Premier League team.
This year they're not.
We talk about how bad Fulham is. Fulham is at least able to score
Right.
goals. Huddersfield they can't score. You can't win if you can't score.
Yeah. No, absolutely right. That's the age old adage there, Phil. They may not be mathematically out. Yeah. Nothing surprises us anymore. They're gone. They're gone. They're relegated already. Even Sam Allardyce, who is a specialist, former manager of, well, every team that's ever been relegated, he steered clear of them. He's like, oh, hell no. I'm not going near that mess.
This is Huddersfield's second year in the Premier League. They stayed up last year after promotion. This is the first time that they had made it that far, so not that surprising to see them fall back down, but for a small club, it really is impressive for even them to get to the Premier League for 2 years. And, they can go back down to the Championship and get some of that relegation windfall money and build up their roster, and we may see them again in the near future.
I hope so. I don't know whether I think they tried to, rather than invest in the team, they tried to just sort of play their way out of relegation, and that's probably not really going to work. You're going to have to put in some money into a team if you want to stay up in the Premier League, and it's not going to come from attendances either, because the ground only holds 24,000 people. Like, that's their max capacity, is 24,000 people. You're not going to compete against the likes of, well, even bloody Fulham, I think, has more. And
with Fulham, at least they've got Mitrovic is in the top 10 of the league in goal scoring. I mean, at least they can put points on the board. I think Mitrovic by himself probably has almost as many goals as Huddersfield has all year.
Yeah, you're probably right, mate. I'm going to go check that up because I reckon that's a fantastic stat here.
Fulham has Callum Chambers.
Yes, of course. Let's not forget about our Callums. Hi, mate. How are you? Good to see you. Maybe we'll see you again next year.
Well, hopefully we'll see Callum Chambers in an Arsenal uniform soon, because he's an Arsenal guy on loan to Fulham.
That's right.
So.
And you know what? I think that's probably one of the big problems with Fulham is that they are filled full of loan players. And the likes of Callum Chambers, he's going to go, oh, well, too bad. I got some game time. Cool. I'm going back to Arsenal. I'm pretty sure that's what half of that squad is doing, is saying, well, you know what? We've lost this one. No worries. We learned a lesson. On we go. Not great for that football club, Fulham. And Fulham are, seriously, not that far ahead of Huddersfield in terms of points gained. Huddersfield is on 14 points. Fulham's on 17 points.
Fulham, to me, I feel like they would be a good MLS team. Fulham is really built like an MLS team. You notice when you watch MLS, you see a lot more 5-3 games than you do in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Fulham is the kind of team that's built to play in like the MLS or maybe even like the French league and win 5-3 games. They're all offense, no defense.
No.
And without investing in the back line. And I mean, even a guy like Callum Chambers, he's a defender, but he's more of an offensive defender.
Yes, he is. But you raised the exact problem. Claudio Ranieri, who was sacked, by the way, I don't know whether we mentioned that on the show. Farewell, Claudio. He was meant to bring in to shore up that defence and also, obviously add some more potency in attack. Their goals against is the worst in the Premier League. They have 68 goals scored against them. 68. You can't win. You can't stay up with that many goals.
Oh, wait. They just conceded again. 69.
And they're not even playing. This is a Tuesday night. I love it, Phil. just awful at the back, and they were 6s and 7s. But you're right. They're a team designed to attack. They're hoping they'll score more than you, but they just don't. I mean, 28 goals, that's nothing.
Just not going to happen in the Premier League because the way that teams are constructed in the Premier League, they're not going to be able to outscore Man City. I mean, Man City has more firepower than probably any team in the world. If you look at the attacking players for a team like Liverpool, for instance, and then you look at the attacking players for Fulham, and then you look at the back line for Liverpool, and then you look at the back line for Fulham. The thing is, I mean, obviously you're talking about Big Six teams, but even if you just look at the middle of the table, like the Wolves, for instance, the Wolves are a perfectly built promotion team.
I don't think I've seen a better promoted team than Wolves this year. They've been excellent. By and large. I mean, they've had some rubbish games in there as well, but by and large, they knew what they were doing. I have to say, the coach Nuno will definitely win the new Manager of the Year award. Probably will come close to actually winning Manager of the Year for pulling that side up. They've been fantastic. Sorry, but going back to what you were saying, Phil, you're right. Fulham isn't looking to compete with the likes of your Man Cities and your Liverpools, or even your Tottenhams. They're looking to beat those mid to lower table teams, like your Bournemouths, your Newcastles, your Crystal Palace, and the like, and they can't.
Right, because those teams are all built around defense. Look at Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is a team that's built on defense. Bournemouth, they're a team that's built on defense. Fulham, they're going to score goals, but they're going to concede more than they're ever going to. And that's where the Wolves, on the other hand, if you look at the Wolves, they've invested in their back line. They just re-signed Matt Doherty to a contract. They are investing in defense. Now, they also, I think that this needs to be our player of the week.
I'm with you, Phil. I already know who you're going to say. Go ahead.
For months now, I've been saying, keep an eye on this guy, and that's none other than number 9, Raul Jimenez.
Absolute cracking player. He holds the record for the highest goal scorer for the Wolves in the Premier League. And he's done that in one season. I don't even think it's been one season, has it? Yeah, I don't even know. He's played a full season.
Not even a full season. Yeah. And he's been scoring across almost every game he's played in. He, of course, had the goal in that 1-1 draw that they had with Chelsea last weekend. Even if you go back to their big win at the FA Cup over Liverpool, he scored the deciding goal in that one. I believe he's on, is it 11 or 12 goals now?
I'm just looking that up. Yes, he's on 12 goals. He's on 12 goals.
12 goals in the Premier League, and then I believe he had 2 others in the FA Cup. So 14 goals for Jimenez this year. And this is a guy that he plays for the Mexican national team.
He does. Yep. Rumours abound that Wolves are probably going to sign him up for 41 million euro. And I'm not going to do the conversion on that because I can't do that to pounds and then back to Australian dollars and then to US dollars. That's far too complicated for me. But that's some big money there. Probably goes back to what we're saying with Callum Williams a few weeks ago. This is one of those talents that the MLS is building up. So you're going to see a lot more competition between these nations, I guess. Your regions, your FIFA regions. It's going to heat up. And I'm looking forward to the next 10 years because I think football will probably balance out after you see that these promising leagues are developing these talents and maybe not selling them for 41 million euros. We digress. The Wolves have the money for him and they would be doing very well. I think he's the most underrated striker in the Premier League.
I completely agree, and it's actually funny that you mentioned this is because there was actually a poll that I put on Twitter a few weeks back, and it had started off where the Premier League website had asked if they thought Sergio Aguero was the best foreign striker in Premier League history. And I kind of took that and said, well, who do you think is the best foreign striker right now? And I went through the list, and the 4 options that I put were Aguero, Aubameyang, Salah, and then the 4th guy I put on the poll was Jimenez. Aguero actually ran away with it. The other 3 guys kind of split up the votes, but there was a guy that had made a comment on the poll and kind of said, well, what's Jimenez doing on the poll? And He suggested a few other guys like Lacazette, but I mean,
Yeah.
if Lacazette's not the top striker on his team, then, and ever since I had the discussion, Jimenez has scored in every game, so I think he's vindicated himself for being on the poll.
Absolutely, and I think he certainly seems to adjusting to life in the English Premier League very well. I'll be very surprised if we don't see him back.
It's also been suggested that he might be the fastest player in the Premier League right now.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, maybe that could be the two-legged horse race we're talking about. Who's fastest in the Premier League? Aubameyang is pretty quick through 100 yards, or maybe it's 40. I don't know.
Salah, he's got to be pretty far up there, I would say. It was the announcers in the Chelsea Wolves game that actually brought up the idea that Jimenez may be the fastest player in the Premier League.
He was certainly the fastest player on that pitch against a miserable Chelsea team, and Matt's not here to defend himself, but Chelsea did go and draw. I have to say, Eden Hazard spared their blushes last weekend.
And honestly, if you watch that game, it was Hazard and 10 pieces of wood against the Wolves.
Yeah. And the Wolves probably were a little bit hard done by to lose that one, I think. I thought they would look the more cohesive side, shall we say.
It was a fantastic individual effort by Hazard. It was, Hazard just kind of put the team on his back. And the thing that I like to watch Eden Hazard more than anything else that really impresses me about his game is the way that he'll make these little passes, and especially he likes to set up on the left-hand side. He'll make a little pass back to his one of his teammates before he starts passing. He'll know where he's going to go to, and he'll pass off, go to where he's going to go to, and his teammate will already have the ball going to where he was going to go to. And that's where he ends up getting a lot of his assists off of. He's good at sending those crosses in to Willian and Barkley, and that's really an impressive part of his game, is how he'll use the short pass to set up a movement so that he can receive the ball in a position to be able to set up for an assist.
Yeah, he's a classic attacking midfielder, and his vision is, I don't know if I'd say bar none, because I saw a masterclass from Mesut Ozil for Arsenal against Manchester United on the weekend, and he is exactly what you were talking about. When he was on his game like he was in the last two games he started, he's just been excellent. Both those players, they don't play to the player, they play where the player should be. They're looking at the runs and going, that guy is going to be there in 2 seconds, I'm hitting the ball there, not where he's at the current time in play, and they're remarkable. They're remarkable to watch, those two.
The easiest way that you can kind of compare this in American sports is how with the quarterback in football will throw the ball to where the receiver is supposed to run their route to, as opposed to throwing it to the receiver.
You're 100% right, but this, I think, has another level of specularity to it, because there's no play.
This isn't drawn up on a chart.
Exactly.
This is something that's done. This is improv.
Exactly.
And
you nailed it. That's exactly the word. They're improvising the play, and for him to be able to understand during the improvisation in play where that play is going to be, they're just remarkable plays. I can't get my head around how they do this. It just shows like an overall sense of the knowledge of the game of football, far and above anyone else that I think I've seen in recent years.
I think one thing that might be worth mentioning is with Eden Hazard is that actually both his mother and his father were both professional soccer players in Belgium.
Oh, well, that's cheating.
So I think that maybe he got a bit of education growing up.
That's probably fair, Phil. Oh, mate, that kind of leads us into the fourth place discussion. Geez, don't we have... We've got a title race. We've got a season for the ages here, I feel. This is remarkable. There's 1 point between Man City and Liverpool as we speak. Nothing between the two. Liverpool won today in very impressive style. We'll come back and talk about that in a minute, and I think that might be just the reason why their season's going to kick on. The fight for those last two remaining Champions League places in the Premier League, which is third and fourth, is exceptionally tight. I don't think I've ever seen a season quite like this.
It's a four-horse race.
4-horse race.
None of these teams seems to want to grab a hold of it and run away with it. It seems like every time a team seems to be getting into form and pulling away a little bit, they'll drop a few games, and whoever's behind them will get a little bit of a run. And for instance, right now we have Arsenal in good form.
Yes.
Won 4 out of their last 5, and the other one of those was a draw. Over their last 5 games, they haven't lost. On the other end of the spectrum, you have Tottenham, who have only won 1 of their last 5 games, 3 of those being losses. So what that means is that over the past 5 games, Arsenal has taken away 13 points. Tottenham has taken away just 4 points.
Wow.
And now Tottenham has had a 10-point lead over Arsenal drop all the way down to 1. Chelsea, who at one point in the season, I believe it was 13 games into the season, they were undefeated and they were bouncing around with Manchester and Liverpool top of the table. They've fallen all the way down to 6th, and that's in spite of winning 3 of their last 5.
Yeah, Manchester United, they were on a run of 9 unbeaten. They hit that pommel horse that was Arsenal. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check us out on Facebook. When Facebook decides to start working again, facebook.com/acrossthepitch. And you can see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer run into the pommel horse that is Arsenal. And it's fantastic viewing. You're right, Phil. I don't want to call this race. Arsenal look like they've got the better run in on paper, but there's a couple of teams that could trip them up. And Arsenal's form away from home has not been great. So Wolves, which has been postponed, that was the next on the schedule. They're going to be a hard game. Newcastle-Arsenal is always a fantastic fixture. There's always plenty of goals in that one there. Everton, win that one. Watford, yeah, should do. But then we have a couple of teams that are fighting for their lives at the bottom of the...
Watford's really been struggling. They should take that one.
But it's Watford at home. This is what I'm saying. Arsenal's not that great.
Was Elton John going to be in the building?
I mean,
that's what it really comes down to. You know that Watford plays better when Elton's there.
Of course, yes, the piano man. Wait, or is that Billy Joel?
I wonder if there's stats on Watford's record if Elton's in the building versus not in the building. Matt would be all over that.
He'd know that stat.
He'd be like, with Elton in the building the night after a concert, they are 12, 13, and 2.
But I can imagine. But when Elton has left the building, there's 0, 1, and 13. Yeah, we digress. Elton, if you're bad, give us a call, mate.
Crocodile Rock.
There we go.
Is that the Australian national anthem?
No, mate. No, we had the Crocodile. We had Crocodile Dundee. We had to give the Brits some sort of crocodile. They can have that. They can have Crocodile Rock, all right? Back to what I was talking about. And then we've got a run of fixtures which could prove tricky because they're against relegation-threatened sides such as Crystal Palace, Brighton, and Burnley. I mentioned in my blog quite some time ago now, and I haven't done one recently, I should do that, at acrossthepitch.com/blog, that these teams are fighting for their lives and they will cause some upsets later in the season. And especially amongst those teams that are vying for either the title or those Champions League places. And I think Arsenal could probably lose 1 to 2 of their last 4 games. I'm putting it out there.
It's hard to say that couldn't happen because Arsenal has had some inconsistency. Of course, they had that loss to Southampton earlier. They struggled with Crystal Palace. I believe that was a draw. So Arsenal seems to be a team that plays to the level of their competition, as is seen in the Europa League, where they lost last week to, what is it, an indigestion tablet?
It's one of those fabulous French words where there's 6 letters, but you only pronounce 3. They lost against Rennes. They looked all ends up. They were just out of sorts, and it was a remarkable turnaround. They beat Man U because I was not confident going into that match on the weekend.
Let me get this straight. What you're telling me is that so far this year, Arsenal has beaten Manchester United, Tottenham, and Chelsea, but they've lost to an indigestion tablet and Borisov truck.
Yep.
And that, folks, is football for
Welcome
you.
to the game of football. It's a fabulous thing. It'll make you tear your hair out. This is why I'm bald and am grey at the grand old age of 40. Let's have a quick chat about the Champions League. All England teams are...
We are the Champions League.
What's in your coffee, Phil?
Just coffee.
I don't know whether Freddie Mercury had either of these teams or all four of these teams in mind when he wrote We're the Champions. Yeah, I think that was Brian May anyway, wasn't it? We digress. All England teams in the Champions League, all four of them that started out this campaign are still there in Europe. And if you don't see the irony in that, then I don't know what to tell you. Hello, Brexit. How's Brexit going for you, lads? It seems like your team is doing very well in Europe. All four of them are still in there. We're talking about Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester United. What was the last one? Oh, Tottenham. Yes, those guys. Yeah, right. So they're still in there.
The Harry Kane
Yeah,
team.
that's it. Yeah. Liverpool dumped out Bayern in spectacular fashion today as we're filming it. We're filming it on a Wednesday as usual. Man U dumped out PSG, which we spoke about recently. Man City yesterday, absolutely just thumped Schalke. I'm sorry. Oh, God, those poor guys. That was just...
Before the game started, I said, yeah, this is going to be like a 6-0 for Man City, and I actually undershot it.
You did. The aggregate was 10-2 in that. Wow, man. Oh. Gotta feel sorry for them, kind of. I don't know. The England teams are certainly flexing their muscles in Europe. A couple of other interesting ones. We spoke about Ajax beating Real Madrid. That was fun and games. Juventus beating Atletico Madrid. They were down.
I don't want to talk about it.
I want to talk about it. I just want to talk about it just briefly. I know you're not a fan of the man that I'm about to bring in here, but... Atletico Madrid went into this match by a margin of 2-0. So it's a reminder to our fans. It's a two-legged tie in the round of 16 in the Champions League. You play at home and then you play away.
Or you can play away and then play home, depending on the draw.
Sure, exactly, yes. Atletico Madrid came in with a 2-goal lead, which in the Champions League you'd think that's pretty good. And Juventus looked awful. Cristiano Ronaldo, he's a class act. And I say he's a class act because Juventus won this game 3-0. So the aggregate over those two games was 3-2 to Juventus. And all three were scored by Cristiano Ronaldo. And I do have to say, when I say he is a class act, he is also a world-class absolute effing nonce. He is just a complete and utter knobhead. I hate this guy, but damn, he's a good footballer.
He's certainly a talented player, but for those of you who watch World Wrestling Federation back in the 90s, let's just say that Cristiano Ronaldo told the crowd that he had 2 words for them at the end of the game.
Yes, and a rather large appendage between his legs as well. Anyway, we digress. So,
yeah, we digress. I told you it was a good idea to talk about that.
I know. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe we can cut in here with the Jose Watch. Have we got a sound effect for that yet? Zinedine Zidane was appointed above Jose Mourinho, and I'm pretty sure Jose Mourinho will return to Real Madrid to kill Zinedine Zidane. This will be great. Stay tuned. Yes, so Jose's a little bit peed off about it. Shall we say cheesed off? Because we haven't done that this week.
Cheesed off. Real Madrid players pushed for Zidane over Mourinho, claims Calderon.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
The Frenchman's swift return to Los Blancos partly came about due to pressure from the dressing room.
No crap.
Senior Madrid players pushed for Zinedine Zidane to be appointed as head coach instead of Jose Mourinho, according to former club president Ramon Calderon.
Yes, I can imagine that. Like, Sergio Ramos had a terrible time under Mourinho, and he would have been going, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no, we're not doing this shit again.
Well, and Thibaut Courtois also.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's obviously some bad blood between some of the Madrid players and Mourinho, so... I always kind of thought that it was a matter of time for Zidane, where he just needed to take some time away from the team.
let's bring things back to the local front here, Phil.
Yes.
Yes. So Phoenix Rising had their opening game against San Antonio, and
It was a cracker of a match.
wasn't it? Oh, man, we look terrible.
We saw a lot of what we said in our preview. Is that I think we said that we liked the offense, but we were concerned about the defense, and a 3-3 result kind of reflects that.
You're absolutely right. Our defense was at 6s and 7s for that first half. Absolutely calamitous. I'm genuinely surprised we snuck that one. We did. We snuck a result out of that one by scoring one in injury time. But I'll tell you what, like a 6-goal game, you can't complain about that. That's fantastic stuff. I'd watch that every day.
The thing is that with the Rising, they're a team that is still kind of trying to play into a new style. Coach Rick Schantz, as we mentioned in the preview, he's a guy that took over midway through last season, so he wasn't really able to fully implement his game plan. In our preview, we mentioned that we thought that he might be looking to play more of a Jurgen Klopp style of football this year. Interestingly enough, in his recent interview with the PRFC fan show, Schantz actually did say that he is a bit of a Klopp disciple, and actually that Jurgen Klopp's book that he read was one of the biggest influences upon his coaching style. He also did mention that one of the reasons that the results for the defense may not have looked the way that you would expect in the preseason is that they were actually in the preseason working on some possession tactics where they were trying to work on possessing the ball more in their end of the field, and that because they were specifically doing that, and in fact he had actually instructed the goalkeepers not to kick the ball out to midfield, to roll it back. They're working on a new style where they're going to try to possess the ball more. So I think that over these first few months of the season, we may expect to see some shaky results defensively as they do adjust to this new style.
Yeah, you're right, and we did see that certainly on Saturday. Phoenix Rising for the past 2 seasons has been a team that plays on the break. They're quite happy to sit back, absorb the pressure, and then just go for it. Like you kick it out to your wingers, to Asante, off they go. And you know what? That's scintillating stuff to watch. But I do have to say that maybe not the best tactics in the modern game, shall we say. There certainly was a transitional era happening here last year. We somehow snuck through to the Western Conference Finals. And yes, you're right, Phil. We are definitely changing tactics. And you know what? I, for one, like those tactics, I'll be honest with you. I mean, attacking on the break.
I'm a Klopp guy.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for Liverpool. I wouldn't say I was a Klopp guy.
I just wanted to say I'm a Klopp guy.
Oh, man. I forgot what I was going to say. We digress. I certainly think that's the way that modern football is going. Rick Schantz is a modern football manager. I'm happy that he's in charge. I think he's going to do great things. We're going to see some iffy games to start with this season. Most like Arsenal. Not our old Arsenal.
The other thing that we should probably mention in addition to Rick Schantz is their assistant coach, Peter Ramage, call him Rambo around here, is a very experienced former Premier League player.
He is.
Played for Newcastle, Queen's Park Rangers, a couple other teams, Crystal Palace. So he's been around the Premier League and really knows that style of play. And I really feel like the coaching staff is really looking to kind of put in that English Premier League style of play and install it into the team. And I think that some of the signings they've made, and certainly I think one thing that was telling was that in their starting lineup, especially in the midfield, you saw a lot of the guys that were the new players actually getting the start. We saw Flemings. Flemings actually was honorable mention for USL Team of the Week.
Yes.
Very impressive debut for Junior Flemings.
Very good to see him take a run.
Adam John, who I called for 20 goals this year in the preview, already has 2. Unfortunately, one was for the wrong team.
Yeah, well, mate, you never know. We'll count that. We'll count
20 goals, you know. What player really stuck out for you in the
Junior Fleming. Junior Fleming. We mentioned him. I mentioned him pre-season. I think Junior Fleming was excellent. He looked like he just slotted straight into that team. He knew what he was doing. His go forward was excellent. He looked very threatening, attacking. Couldn't really fault him, honestly.
Yeah, I'm very encouraged with the way the new players looked, and I think with the new signings, and I have a feeling that there will be maybe one or two guys added in. We still don't have Rigi back,
Right.
so of course he's going to solidify the midfield. Then the biggest thing is, for instance, Luigi Mola, a bit surprisingly,
Yes.
actually got the start, and if we can see him really develop into a solid center back for us, I think that's going to be a key, is the development of Luigi Mola, and if he can really become an anchor on that back line.
Yeah. Asante was good as captain, I thought. He played, he did what they call in cricket, he played a captain's knock, which means he was there providing impetus. He was leading by example, basically. I thought he was excellent.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think that there was any question among fans going into this season who the captain should be,
Right.
because, not only is he coming into his second year of the team, not only is he a top scorer, but he's an experienced guy who's played in
Yeah.
international football. Really just a guy that has a lot of leadership qualities that I think he's going to be a great captain for the team this year, and there's nobody else that I would have wanted to see wearing that armband.
No, I agree with you, and I think there's many, many happy Phoenix Rising fans out there.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have news across the pitch news desk.
Fulham conceded again?
No. Congratulations are in order, Phil. We have big news. Our man, Phil Kennedy, recently proposed to his betrothed. We'd like to give you a warm round of applause here, Phil. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us about the ring you bought her.
Yes, I recently, last Thursday, I proposed to Heather, my girlfriend, now fiance, and I don't quite know how she got steered the wrong way. She is a Chelsea supporter.
Yes.
So long story short is she has the official Chelsea FC diamond engagement ring.
Well, mate, I can tell you she is a lucky girl. Well, you're a lucky man as well. And I've got to say,
Yes, I am.
you're a bigger man than I am, because I'd be like, nah, sorry, love. There's the door. Congratulations, Phil. And I'm sure Matt would like to give his congratulations as well. I know he already has.
Yes.
Well done, mate. Well done. And if that
Thank you.
doesn't show the impartiality of our show, then nothing will. I'm sorry.
We give Tottenham a hard time and some other teams, but at the end of the day, we're all football fans, and whatever team you choose to support, just don't be like that fool that ran onto the field in Aston Villa.
Yep. Nope. Gone. Good.
Cheer for your team, sing your songs, drink your beers, don't throw them onto the field, and root for whoever you want to, because the Red Sox and the Yankees wouldn't be the Red Sox and the Yankees without each other, just the same as Liverpool and Manchester United, or Arsenal and Tottenham.
Exactly. Well said, mate. The rivalry is there for a reason. We have good banter. We go on and live our lives afterwards. As a famous man once said, football is not a game of life or death. It's much more important than that.
Yes, couldn't agree with you more.
On that bombshell, Phil.
I did want to just make one other quick announcement before we wrap up the show. That was that I recently did a poll on Twitter for what my next blog is going to be about. The winning topic was the League 2 relegation race. So I will have an upcoming blog coming up at acrossthepitch.com/blog talking all about the League 2 relegation race, which teams may be looking at going down, and also which teams are looking at coming up from the National League.
Looking forward to that one, mate. I really am. That's going to be a great read.
Yeah, it's a great race going on. And we talked a lot about League One earlier, and realistically, if you're not watching League One and League Two, you're missing out on some of the very best in English football. I mean, you want to see guys that leave everything on the field, watch some of these League One and League Two games. And like Aaron mentioned so often, many of these teams used to be in the Premier League, and they're fighting tooth and nail to get their way back.
Absolutely. You're missing out if you're not watching it. You don't call yourself a football fan if you're not watching all the football outside of your own team. That's the end of my rant.
Did you have anything else tonight, Aaron?
I'm good. I just want to wish Matt a speedy recovery. Hopefully he'll be joining us next week on Across the Pitch.
Hope you're feeling better soon, Matt. We look forward to having you back next week. And as always, we thank you all for joining us here on Across the Pitch. For my co-host and brother down under,
my mate from State 48, I'm Aaron Ayres. Good night.
Good night.